Hello and welcome to this episode of Kennedy Saves the world that will soon be run by Gavin Newsom. Jimmy Failla is here because it's Monday.
Hey, Jimmy.
Hey, Jimmy.
Hey there.
So, Jim, I can't get over. So Gavin Newsom was doing a Donald Trump parody.
Yep.
But that really is just an on-ramp for him to talk about himself in the way he wants to talk about himself and glorify himself in a way that is not parody at all.
Yeah.
And then when someone calls him on, he's going to be like, yeah, I was kidding the whole time, you guys. Yeah, get it?
The word you're looking...
This is the thing. I'm big and beautiful. But I really am. But I'm not. I'm just kidding. Totally serious.
It's so funny. The word you're looking for is sociopath.
He really is. It feels like he's a sociopath.
Yeah, but what he's doing right now is funny that you articulated it the way you do, because it does remind me of the girl who would walk around with just like a piece of rice over each nipple and be like, why is everybody looking at me? And that is like so what he's doing, is he wants the attention in a way that allows him to claim he doesn't.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm just trying to cartoon Trump. No, obviously, you're trying to play yourself up because he knows the way the Democrat Party works. Brandon Johnson's doing this. Wes Moore is doing this. Mm-hmm. These are all people who have failed their locales on a criminal level, but know there's upward mobility if you get engaged in a fight with Trump.
Yes.
If Trump gives you the oxygen and this lasts for like 3 weeks, you could become the resistance figure that puts you in the lead.
But that's a really great point.
Yeah,
but just the oxygen, because they're dying.
Yeah.
Their cities are dying. Their states are dying. They're plagued by so many problems of their own creation that, the oxygen mask is the great distraction that takes everyone's eye off of all of the very serious problems.
If you look at like the fundamentals of his leadership specifically, we know all about the homeless problem and the high-speed rail and, of course, the abundance of homes that have been rebuilt since the wildfires, meaning none. Yeah. Okay. And then the fact that 300 businesses have left California. 300. Bed Bath & Beyond left last week. Really think about how bad you are as a governor, okay? You run a state that's filled with illegal Mexicans, and you lost the only store that has a quesadilla maker section. Okay? They have a section devoted to quesadilla. Gone. Okay? I feel like he's been so anti-business, and at its core, that's what ultimately feeds crime problems. That's what feeds, more of the homeless problem and the drug problem and everything in between. So he sucks, and he's trying to fail upward by becoming the latest guy for people to channel their Trump hatred through. Yeah. That's who he is.
So, but my fear is if Zohran Mamdani can become mayor of New York, and by all accounts he will, based on the polling, based on the candidates that are staying in the race, they don't care. Their egos are bigger than their love for the city they want to lead, which, at this point, none of them ever will. Adams will never lead anything again. Cuomo's politically done. Curtis Lewa was never a viable candidate. But if Zohran Mamdani can win the mayorship of New York, then Gavin Newsom can become president. Like you can have policies that are so contrary to growth, prosperity, and thriving. And people go, oh, yeah, that's totally going to screw me in the hiney hole. Yeah. I am voting for that. Give me more of it.
Because what happened is, and specific, I think, to the left more than anybody else, is it's a branding exercise. And you vote for the candidate that you think looks the best on your brand. And this started with Obama. And it was the end of, obviously, a 2-term Bush presidency and a very unpopular war. And Obama didn't come along with a particularly good record, but he was cool. In the zeitgeist, in that moment, he was cool. And they made it cool to vote for him. And they ran on something that sounded empowering. Yes, we can. Do you remember that?
Si se puede.
I know, but
yes, we can. Michelle? Yes, we can.
But when you talk about the branding exercise and how if you can become like a hot topic president, that's what Mamdani is for mayor. Yeah. That's what Newsom's hoping to become. Okay. And you completely distance yourself from any accountability for your own leadership or lack thereof. And it works. So that's what Newsom's hoping to do. He's hoping to become like the Twitter tough guy strongman. As he said, he's fighting fire with fire.
Okay, but obviously Democrats are looking for a manly man because they have invited any sort of strong, masculine, normal guy to leave their party. They have handwritten invitations, please just go. And so now they're like, where'd all the guys go? And, they've got, Mamdani can't even bench press 135 pounds.
Sad.
Never should have tried the dumbest own
Fire
goal.
whoever's in charge of the campaign because they should have known better than to do that.
That was so ridiculous. The fact that anyone put him in that position and he agreed to it just betrays a total lack of political instincts. That's fatal. And then you have Tim Walz, whose biggest accomplishment as governor was putting tampons in the boys' room. Those are your two guys that are like literally anyone, and then they see that Gavin Newsom is doing a Trump bit still, and that's all they have.
It's become a sad reality show. That's what it is. And
voters can't be that desperate.
Don't go anywhere. More Kennedy Saves the World right after this.
If I had to guess, I would say their 2028 standard bearer is probably somebody we're not talking about right now. That's going to have some distance.
You've said that for a while.
It has to be.
It has to be.
How could you lean into any of these and go, no, this is the guy?
Yeah.
Like the idea that they're doing the Kamala speaking tour now, which is... we always make that joke about how, her speeches are profitable because you could charge people to get out. What is the motivation? What would really be the motivation to go to a speaking tour about how she lost?
Yeah. Because watching Kamala speak is like going to a bar at midnight sober.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it.
And staying sober, it's just like everything is just annoying. The music is a little too loud. It's
so
a little too dark. People next to you at the bar are talking a little too close.
Yep.
They're not making any sense, but that's what a Kamala speech is like.
Mm-hmm. And you want to know what's funny about that? What you just described in terms of going to a bar sober at midnight is like if you're the sober person. That's also what the rest of life seems like if you were Joe Biden. You know what I mean? Everybody was too loud. Nothing made sense. You were confused. And so either of those two scenarios don't connect with anybody. So I rule out her. Newsom, this is sad. Joe Scarborough said it was sad. He said it was embarrassing. He did.
Yeah.
Last week we played on my show. So rule him out. Wes Moore's trying to fight with Trump. Baltimore just sued Hyundai. Do you remember this? It's like a year-old story.
Yeah,
they sued Hyundai because the cars were too easy to steal.
Break into.
The actual legal equivalent of look at what she was wearing. A municipality said, look at what she's wearing, Your Honor. She wanted her car stolen.
She was asking for it.
So that, to me, is a disqualifier. The Brandon Johnson thing, are you watching him in Chicago now?
No.
He's like, we're going to stand up against tyranny? This is what's so crazy about how they've lost the plot, is they're so transactional that the Democrats are now attacking the Republicans for trying to protect inner cities. We are here 5 years removed from 2020 trying to tell Democrats that Black Lives Matter. That is insane.
Yeah.
That's insane, but that's where we are. That's why it can't be these people.
There's a center-left organization called Third Way, and they released a mission statement of things that Democrats should stop saying.
Oh, the words? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, stop using the word triggered. Stop using the word othered. Stop talking about intersectionality. People don't talk this way.
Nope.
And it was all these virtue signaling code words.
No, I'm sick of it.
That they would flash, and it's like, who is this pleasing?
Nobody. I'm sick of all the specialized verbiage. I talk about it with my Latinx friends all the time. We're just enough is enough already. You know what I mean?
At Cracker Barrel, at the new Cracker Barrel, where you finally feel safe.
Oh, the new Cracker Barrel. That you talk about the birthing person of all evils, because that's where
another one on there.
That's where
Stop saying birthing persons.
Yeah, please, and yes. Stop. It's just there. Stop being what Cracker Barrel has become.
Yeah.
Nobody asked for that.
My aunt has been a server at Cracker Barrel for 20 years, and I love her. She has 75 stars on her apron. That's how good she is.
A lot of flair.
A lot of flair. When we would go see my grandmother in Brownstown, Indiana, we would always go to Cracker Barrel. It was a treat, especially as kids, and we would load up on the retro candy and just have the time of our lives. And then finally they got Cracker Barrels in Oregon. They all closed.
Is that true?
Because of crime. It's insane.
That is crazy.
Just in time for the reboot that nobody wanted. And so my brother's going back to where we're from in southern Indiana. He's like, I want to go to Cracker Barrel, but now I don't want to support them because this is such a bad choice. And it puts people in the worst position.
Oh, amen. And I will say this, as someone who grew up on, I don't want to say grew up, but from my mid-20s on, in the time I knew Jenny, we would always go to Cracker Barrel.
Yeah.
I truly love Cracker Barrel. And what it represented to its customer base was like you could unplug. It was like almost like an autonomous zone. You know, between North Korea and South Korea, there's not going to be any fighting. Like, you can't get mad at a Cracker Barrel, okay? You're eating a Kit Kat the size of a beach towel. You're playing a peg game. You know, chicken,
I love
dumplings.
the peg game.
Yeah, of course you do. It's amazing. But do you know they changed the peg game, and it no longer says if you leave more than 3, you're just plain dumb. For real.
Wow.
They changed it so it doesn't insult people because they don't want to. You won't get your feelings hurt while you're waiting for the pancakes. You know, but listen. Everybody is trying too hard.
Yeah.
And it's creating this monoculture that has no soul. That's what happened to the Democrat Party. That's what this Cracker Barrel thing is. Even if it's not articulated in the name of politics as far as they see it, to the rest of us, that's what it looks like. There was a Public Enemy song called Who Stole the Soul? Cracker Barrel. And maybe whoever made up those Democrat words. Chuck D, get Chuck D on the phone. He hasn't been...
I'd like to think that Chuck D is a conservative now.
Yeah, he has to be.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? As a guy that cares about the inner cities?
Yeah.
Flavor Flav he was on Celebrity Apprentice, wasn't he?
Yes, he was.
Wow, we got PE. The Democrats are screwed.
Base. How low can you go, Democrats? All right, go have a wonderful week. This has been Kennedy Saves the World, along with Jimmy Failla. I'm Kennedy. It's a big deal.
Listen ad-free with a Fox News Podcast Plus subscription on Apple Podcasts, and Amazon Prime members can listen to this show ad-free on the Amazon Music app.
Oh, go ahead and leave me a review while you're there. I'd love to hear what you have to say.
You've been listening to Kennedy Saves the World on the Fox News Podcast Network.